Amian sob jane mwala state Nagaland de Nltp Act to 1989 by implement guina aishu na hului reality de saishe gule do pika manu khan bi jaga jaga kinar dito sob manu pikai na aise aro kha manu bi pai gina khai na aise guna mon jani baise to itula issue la opportunity this time Nagaland Legislative Assembly du itula hot topic thaishe aro various members khan bi ta nijor la opinions khan bi share grishe kumba do itu Nltp Act la against thaishe kumba do itu support thakala bi amian tikhi pai na aise to itula oporde mon la Chief Minister ni Ferio wataiwa concluding remarks dishe aro taiwa koise ki itu Nltp Act to itu with good knowledge further discussion jawo goina within the house or outside the house with public leaders nole various organizations kanlo de milina itula issue oporde discussion jawo goina tai janai dishe aro tai mention goise ki itu busti khan dido itu power strictly implement goina power jaise goina holui itu urban cities khan dedo itu huge failure ase goina tai itu we mention grala amihan tikhi baise tai koise ki state government ba itu strict checking aro monitor to kuri do goina tai koise holui itu individual khan kun khai itu khan ki to tahan iku rukhaule to naparo gise kile gule itu to nijor la personal choice or personal decision ase goina tai itu koise I will detail reports I saw.
Speaker sir, I rise to participate in the discussion on matter of urgent public importance on hazard of spurious liquor. And I want to thank the honorable members for raising this very pertinent issue. And I want to thank the honorable speaker for allowing the discussion on this topic. We will handle this issue with more knowledge, and this topic, health hazard of spurious liquor in our state, and the evil effects, will have further discussion in this house and outside the house with public leaders and various organizations. Thus, the Nagaland Total Liquor Prohibition Act has been enacted in the state in the year 1989 with the intention of addressing social issues related to alcohol abuse, such as domestic violence, health problems, drunken driving and public disorders. The Act envisaged that reducing alcohol consumption will in turn lower rates of alcohol-related diseases, thereby improving overall community health, among others. This policy was put in place in tune with the circumstances of that time. The statute has been in place for over 34 years, and the impact is there for all of us to see. Looking back, we cannot say that it has been successful. And there were various factors for which we will briefly touch upon. Historically and contemporarily, efforts to ban alcohol have been led to unintended and often detrimental consequences that highlight the challenges of enforcing such policies. The rise of black markets, increased criminal activities such as rise in syndicate suppliers, spurious and inferior quality, among many others, which the honorable members, many had expressed. It may be appreciated that the state government can only regulate and restrict sale and flow of liquor. But the government cannot arbitrarily prohibit individual from drinking, which is essentially a matter of personal choice and decision. Further, it is also a subject that is largely pivoted on the dynamics of demand and supply. As long as people drink, there is bound to be demand, and that follows naturally is the supply base on such demand. If we see the patriarchal history of the prohibition policy, it has been observed that the policy had been largely effective in rural areas in the state. On the other hand, in the urban areas, we have witnessed a huge failure. The church has also been vocal on this matter, and we genuinely appreciate the apprehension of the church. In fact, all these years, the state government has been consulting with all sections of the society on important public matters such as these before taking any decision. As one of the members had stated, in the urban local bodies also, it was the civil societies and tribal halls who were totally against the Municipal and Town Council Act, which has reservation of 33% for women. And we went to the extent of repealing the central law, and we got condemned of court. Then we passed a law after convincing the tribal leaders with 33% reservation, and people support peaceful conduct of election was held. That means consultation, listening to one another brings success. And therefore, in this issue also, we need a huge consultation of all stakeholders. The state government genuinely appreciate the gaps in the enforcement of the Nltp Act. Be that as it may, simply blaming the state government will not improve the situation. This needs a collective resolution and participation from every section of the community. Let us understand that the state agencies such as police or the excise department alone cannot address this challenge by themselves. This challenge can be effectively addressed only when cooperation is extended by all these sections, starting from the family, colony, wards, civil societies at large. If we really see, few people have actually benefited out of this system since the business went underground and bootleggers stood out as the major beneficiaries. The benefit going to the wrong hands is a very dangerous thing for the society. The common citizens at large have suffered. There are several examples of our citizens suffering from various diseases owing to consumption of illicit liquor. It pained us to see many men and women lost their lives at a very young age on account of drinking spurious liquor. If we look around, many people of the society suffer from liver diseases or alcohol-related complications, essentially because they are accessible only to inferior and adulterated liquor. Sir, I would like to explain some of, you might also come across the news items recently where consumption of illicit liquor caused 65 dead in Kalapurichi district in Tamil Nadu in June this year. In fact, according to the source of Home Ministry, 947 deaths have occurred in 2020, 782 deaths in 2021 on account of consumption of spirits liquor in the country. And I have checked up with some of my friends through my contact, and I'm informed that many cities are there, many good hospitals are there all over the country. My information about one particular hospital in Delhi, in a year, they get a patient registering for liver transplant. And in a year, a registration is about 100. And this includes Nagas and others. But last year, that is 2023, 14 Nagas had a liver transplant in that hospital and surviving. Those registered waiting for the daughter may die or they may go elsewhere. In this 14 Nagas liver transplant, I am informed that 9 Naga boys, 9 of them, their age are 30, in between 30 to 40 years. So, at a very young, tender age, they should have been at the peak, but dying in this drinking spirits, liquors. And there are so many health issues. Naga, mostly they go to Guwahati, Calcutta, Vellore, Delhi, and Mumbai. So this is, we are talking about one hospital. We don't know how much it is. I think a concerned citizen, a team may go deeper into it. How things are happening, which we don't know. Unregulated alcohol in the black market is often of poor quality and poses severe health risk, as our doctor friends who had mentioned about various chemicals combinations which are very poisonous, even given instant vital systems in our body. Regulation will allow for strict quality measures, reducing the incidence of health complications associated with unsafe alcohol consumption. Besides this, alcohol, as mentioned by some speakers, for easier and cheaper formula method, many become a drug addict and use drugs. There are so many kinds of drugs which can be transported or carry easily. And therefore, these stories and the issues which lies in our society is a concern not only of the mothers or the church, but the whole society. We are fully concerned. So instead of pointing fingers at one another, it is time we all come together and reason together so that we could collectively and resolutely address these problems. And make our society free from the hazard of spurious illicit liquor. Rather than judging one another, let us have an open mind and positively share views and influence to make our community healthy and resilient. We respect the views of the churches, enemies, and public and other organizations. The other day, on the 22nd August, that is last week, Cabinet decided to revisit and discuss on Nltp 1989 because there are many organizations writing to the government to discuss, to revisit, and so to have further discussion, we should discuss what to discuss and how to discuss. In this, our cabinet decision, it went to social media, circulated, and a lot of interest developed on this issue. So all the newspapers, headlines, and all the organizations started pouring in, giving their views. And some for and some against, both in social media and newspapers. It has generated a lot of interest in discussion. Like today, the House, our views are differing a little bit. In that matter, we should discuss so that we can hammer out our differences, make one another understand more. Not only newspapers, social media. You see, it's now 6:25, and whole day we had meeting, lunch break. One meeting we had lunch and came back. And from morning till now, no honorable members are feeling sleepy. Very alert, taking very interested whether you are speaking or listening. Even our officials and the gallery, people who are sitting, nobody is sleeping today. Everybody is giving their attentions. So, as you are aware, In this session, 14th session of the House, in the business list on this Nltp issues is not listed. This session in the business, it is not listed. And discussion on matters of urgent public importance under Rule 50. It is only a discussion, urgent public importance. No resolution, no decision. It is discussion inside the House or outside the House. Therefore, be positive and let us come together and share our mind. In the cabinet, what we discuss? If at all we have to relax, there is no issue of lifting. Our discussion was, it has a provision for diplomats and their delegates. And Nagaland has become a tourist destination. So how do we deal with people who come from outside the state? Only that discussion. In one area we discussed, if anybody needs that district, after consultation with the civil societies and the ULBs, they should write to the department and there should be a committee to assess. So it is not the state government, but on the demand, because many districts and many organizations have started writing letters, because it is better to be regulated and controlled. Otherwise, it's a failure when the government will be the first to be blamed. We can take the blame. But as I mentioned, with the support of civil societies and all stakeholders, it is not possible. I asked the intelligence department some days back, since this issue was coming. So I mentioned, I want to know how many shops in between that location to that location. That is about less than 2 kilometers. How many wine selling shops will be there? Intelligence had reported to me that there is more than 100 shops. So that means I had asked only for one street. And there are many places like that. Therefore, I think together we have to not only discuss, but we have to enforce and regulate. When you declare a war, you have to win, you have to fight for it. Otherwise, you lost the battle. And therefore, since Nagaland Liquor Total Prohibition 1989 is in place, with everybody's support, only then government can activate and check particularly the spirits liquor and also to control the bootleggers But first, we have to understand one another to enforce if you want to be successful. And once again, thank you and thank all the participants for your inputs. And for other members who could not get chance, but given the patient hearing, so with these few words, I conclude our discussion. Thank you.